I'm not broke and I'm not cheap, even though I've probably been called the latter more times than I can count. You know what? Like I have an uncle. He's in his 60s now. And I remember going to visit him as a kid. And when he would give, for breakfast, me and my cousins would be there. And when you'd have cereal for breakfast at his house, he wouldn't let you drink the milk after you're done with the cereal. You take that bowl full of milk and you put it in the fridge for the following day's cereal. That's cheap. Okay? That is cheap. And that is not me. Now, I will give it to him. All these years later, he's living the life. He has a really nice house on the beach, and he has a boat, and he's just, retired and doing his thing. So it paid off. But I'm not cheap. And I'm going to get into the difference a little later on in the video between frugality and being cheap. But I want to talk about why I am frugal. Why is that a decision that I made intentionally? And why do I think it's the right decision? And I'll be honest, I've always kind of been that way. I've always been the kind of person that likes to have a little bit of money stashed away, ever since I was a teenager. But as an adult, it becomes more important. And I think the reason for that is because, when you're a teenager, what can really go wrong? You don't need an emergency fund or anything like that. But when you're an adult, you need those things. And as an adult, just having the freedom of having an emergency fund that doesn't need to be that high because my monthly expenses aren't that high is great, right? I don't have car payments because I'm frugal and I have a used car. I don't have monthly payments that I have to make towards a cell phone that quote unquote was free, but really just means I have a higher monthly bill. I don't have that because my phone was cheaper and is a couple years old. I don't have credit card debt because I live below my means and I don't buy things that I don't need, that I don't value. I don't do impulse buys. So I don't pay that on a monthly basis either. I don't have a bunch of subscriptions that I don't use, so I don't pay that either. So my monthly expenses are super low, which gives me the freedom to have a little flexibility, to move around a little more, to have a little less stress. Like if I lose my job tomorrow, which obviously I don't want to happen, but if I lose my job tomorrow, I'm not super stressed. I mean, Like I don't spend a lot of money every month, so it doesn't take me finding a super high paying job to have to get back on track. I can find just a regular job that doesn't pay that well, that's easier to come by. That's just the way it is. I can even quit my job if it gets too terrible. I can take a job that pays a little bit less, and I don't make that much. But it's because I'm frugal. It's because I spend on things that I care about, and I don't buy all the extra stuff. I get to save more money. I get to have low monthly expenses. I get to have the extra freedoms that come with that. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what's the difference between being cheap and being frugal. And there's a guy by the name of Remy Sethi that has talks about this in his book, I'll Teach You to Be Rich. And he's basically talking about, if you're frugal, you're just spending on the things that you value, that you care about, and you're not really spending on anything else, which I think is a great approach. I like to travel. I like to create memories with my kids and my family, so I spend money on those things. But I don't spend money on, things like clothes, like work clothes, for example. I have 5 sets of work clothes. I work 5 days a week. Why do I need more than 5 sets of work clothes? I have a set for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then I repeat them. And if one of them gets worn out, then I buy another one. But why do I need 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pair of work clothes? I work 5 days. It doesn't even make sense. So I don't spend money on that. I don't spend money on jewelry. I don't spend money on watches. For what? My phone tells the time. If you have a phone that doesn't tell the time, then you're cheap. I don't even know if they have a phone that doesn't tell the time. But yeah, I'm not cheap. I do buy the things that I value. I don't buy the things that I don't value. I don't value trying to impress people that I don't know. So I don't spend things that impress people that I don't know. It doesn't make a difference to me. And I think for that reason, maybe I'm from the outside looking in, I could be called cheap, I suppose. And I suppose that maybe they could think, oh, this guy must be broke. The ironic thing about that is the person wearing all the designer clothes and all the jewelry and watches and handbags, that's probably really the broke person in disguise. It's the way it works, right? Unless you're really wealthy and you really have a lot of income coming in, it's hard to do both. It's hard to take the money you have left over at the end of the month and put it and invest it, and to go buy designer things and expensive cars and all that. It's difficult to do both. You can do one or the other. But unless, again, you have a really high income, it's very difficult to do both of those things. I do not have a very high income, so I choose to put my money towards investments and try to buy my freedom over going to buy random things that impress other people that I don't need or don't value. Because I'm frugal. I'm not cheap. I'm not recycling cereal milk. Again, shout out to my uncle. He's doing well now. But he was the definition of cheap, is the definition of cheap. So I would challenge you that if it's something that appeals to you, if you think you might be interested, maybe try it for a week. Maybe take 1 week and just tell yourself, you know what, for this week, I'm only going to spend on things that are essential. I'm not going to go out and buy any once. I'm not going to do any impulse buying, nothing like that. I'm only going to buy things that are essential for this week and see how it ends up. I would venture to say that by the end of the week, you're going to find a couple of things. Number one, you'll probably find out that you don't miss the things you didn't buy that you thought you really had to have in the moment. You're not going to miss them. And number two, you're probably going to find out that you have a couple extra dollars laying around. And hopefully, number three, you'll find out that you like that feeling. You like the feeling of, man, I got a couple extra bucks that I can do something else with. And I don't miss the things that I gave up. And then that 1 week will turn into 2 weeks, will turn into a month, 6 months, and maybe even a lifetime, a lifestyle change on how you approach money, how you approach spending money with intention and becoming frugal and not cheap.